Ever notice your handshake getting softer and your bedroom confidence slipping away? What if 10 minutes a day could bring them roaring back? I'm Dr. Justin Keller. Stay with me and you'll discover the silent daily habit that drains male strength faster than low testosterone. A 2-minute cold rinse that wakes up blood flow and focus. The food swap that rebuilds your arteries while you sleep. A simple promise trick that restores self-belief in 1 week. How honesty, not perfection, reignites intimacy at any age. Do not click away. The very first habit is the one most men ignore, yet it decides whether every other tip works or fails. Type your city in the comments so we can see where men are reclaiming strength and connection. Smash the like button and subscribe to Glowing Age now. It tells me to keep making these straight-to-the-point lessons. Let's start rebuilding. Why strength, intimacy, and confidence decline after 60. What if I told you that the changes you're feeling right now, less strength in your body, less connection in your relationship, and less confidence when you look in the mirror, aren't personal failings? They're predictable biological shifts, and the worst part, no one ever prepared you for them. Most men expect their energy and physical power to drop as they age. What they don't expect is how it creeps into their sense of identity. One day, you realize the stairs wind you. Your grip's not what it used to be. Your recovery from simple things, yard work, travel, intimacy, takes longer. And soon it's not just about your muscles. It's about what that loss represents. Strength, intimacy, and confidence are all deeply connected. And after 60, they're under quiet attack from multiple directions. First, there's testosterone decline. Starting in your 30s, levels drop about 1% per year. By 60, your testosterone is likely 30–40% lower than it was in your physical prime. That shift affects everything: muscle mass, fat storage, mood, and libido. You may still want intimacy, but the spark doesn't ignite as fast. The drive isn't as steady. And when that internal switch doesn't flip like it used to, it messes with your head more than your body. Next is muscle atrophy. It happens faster than most men realize. Without resistance training, the average man loses 3–5% of muscle mass each decade after 40. That affects posture, balance, and metabolism. Your body burns fewer calories. Fat creeps in. Joints feel weaker. It's not that you're not trying, it's that the body now requires more to maintain what once came easily. Then comes circulatory change. Blood vessels stiffen. Nitric oxide production drops. That means less oxygen-rich blood reaching muscles, the brain, and other vital areas. You may feel that as fatigue, fog, or frustration. You may feel it most acutely in the bedroom, where arousal depends entirely on healthy blood flow. If erections feel less full, less predictable, or slower to arrive, it's not in your imagination. It's a vascular symptom. And it often shows up years before any other sign of heart or metabolic trouble. Now layer in emotional impact. Most men were raised to value strength, physical, mental, and sexual. When those areas shift, it can lead to self-doubt, withdrawal, or quiet shame. You don't talk about it, but it's there. You avoid situations where you might be vulnerable. You stop initiating things you once enjoyed, not because you don't care, but because you're unsure how it will go. That uncertainty eats at your confidence. And then there's the relationship dynamic. If you've been with a partner for decades, aging doesn't just affect you, it affects us. When your performance changes, the connection may feel off. You might pull back emotionally to protect yourself. Your partner may not know what's going on. Intimacy fades, not because there's no love, but because no one knows how to navigate this part of life. But here's the truth I remind every man I work with. This decline is common, but it's not permanent. These changes are real, but they're also reversible, or at the very least, manageable, if you understand what's happening and stop blaming yourself. You can rebuild strength. You can reclaim intimacy. And confidence can return when you stop expecting your 30-year-old body to do the work and start giving your current body what it now needs. This is the age where men don't need to slow down. They need a smarter strategy, one that works with biology instead of fighting it. And that starts with awareness, knowing what's changing and why. In the next segment, we'll talk about the everyday habits, small, silent ones, that most men ignore, but that are quietly draining your energy, hormones, and connection one day at a time. Silent habits that drain you daily. Sitting feels harmless, even deserved after decades of work. Yet 3 hours in the recliner signal your muscles to shut down their engines. Every unused hour reduces insulin sensitivity, raises blood sugar, and tells your brain to make less testosterone. Stand, feel wobbly, and blame age, but the chair has been quietly stealing strength. Next comes the evening treat: white bread sandwich, a couple of biscuits, a glass of wine. Refined carbs and alcohol slam the liver, with sugar it turns to fat. Insulin spikes, growth hormone drops, and triglycerides rise to clog arteries. One night is nothing, 40 years is a slow tourniquet on vitality. Screen grazing follows, hours scrolling headlines or television without real engagement. The brain slips into passive mode, dopamine trickles, and motivation flatlines. Research shows more than 2 hours of passive media daily raises depression risk in men over 60 by 30%. When dopamine stays low, the urge for exercise, creativity, even intimacy fades. Sleep is an unseen thief, staying up late because I'm not tired, then napping midday fragments deep sleep. Testosterone production cuts in half and morning cortisol soars. Cortisol tightens vessels and packs fat around the waist. Tomorrow's workout feels harder, confidence thinner. Hydration hides in plain sight. Thirst signals dull with age, so many men sip coffee, soda, or nothing. Blood volume falls, thickening the very fluid that must deliver oxygen to muscles and brain. Dehydrated blood also struggles to fill penile tissue, leading to weaker, shorter performance. Social withdrawal completes the circle. Retirement can shrink interaction to a nod at the mail carrier. Positive contact, however, raises oxytocin, blunts stress hormones, lowers blood pressure, and boosts nitric oxide pathways. Without it, biology drifts into chronic fight or flight. You may not feel anxious, but your arteries do. They constrict, your heart strains, and libido dims. None of these habits look dramatic. They're comfortable, familiar, even culturally encouraged. Relax, indulge, tune out. But together they chip away at hormones, circulation, and mindset every single day. The fix isn't drastic. Replace idle sitting with hourly movement, 10 air squats, or a walk to the mailbox. Swap refined snacks for protein and color, Greek yogurt with berries instead of biscuits. Trade 30 minutes of scrolling for a phone call, a puzzle, or a hobby that challenges the brain. Set a firm bedtime, darken the room. Drink a tall glass of water before each meal. And reach out. Coffee with a friend, volunteer work, a local class. Small changes dismantle silent drains quickly. When these drains stop, the rebound feels almost unfair. Energy rises, blood flows easier, motivation returns. In the next section, we'll rebuild from the inside out, starting with hormones and the sharp focus that makes every day feel purposeful again. Rebuilding from the inside out, hormones, blood flow, and focus. Imagine flipping a switch that lifts your mood, strengthens your grip, and sparks desire, all in one circuit. That switch is your hormone network, and after 60, it needs deliberate rewiring. Start with testosterone. It fuels muscle growth, confidence, and sexual drive, yet many men treat its decline as fate. 2 actions raise it naturally. First, resistance. When you challenge large muscles, legs, back, chest, with slow push-ups, chair squats, or resistance bands, the body releases luteinizing hormone, instructing the testes to produce more testosterone within hours. Aim for 10 minutes of tension daily. Second, compound fats. Extra virgin olive oil, avocado, and omega-3 rich fish deliver cholesterol in the form your glands turn into hormones, while fighting inflammation that blocks production. Combine both habits and studies show up to a 25% boost in free testosterone in 12 weeks, without pharmaceuticals. Next comes nitric oxide, the gas that relaxes arteries and powers erections and brain perfusion. Production falls by half after age 50, but it climbs quickly with dietary nitrates and brief bursts of diaphragmatic breathing. A handful of arugula at lunch or a 6-ounce beet shot primes the chemistry. Follow it with 6 slow nasal breaths. Inhale 4 seconds, hold 2, exhale 6. The sinuses generate nitric oxide. The deep exhale pushes it into blood. The result is wider vessels, lower pressure, and a clear, steady pulse behind the eyes. Dopamine is your focus and motivation fuel. Low levels feel like boredom, procrastination, or stale intimacy. The fastest legal way to raise dopamine is sunlight and novelty. Step outside within 30 minutes of waking. Light hits retinal cells, spiking dopamine pathways and resetting the body clock for stronger evening testosterone release. Layer novelty by learning one small skill, a new recipe, a foreign phrase, a different walking route. Each novelty surge trains the brain to expect reward, lifting drive across work, hobbies, and relationships. Cortisol, the stress hormone, is both guardian and saboteur. It wakes you, but constant elevation stiffens arteries and wrecks testosterone. Keep it in check with strategic pauses, 3 5-minute breaks spread through the day. Sit upright, eyes closed, silently count 30 breaths. Heart rate drops, cortisol follows, and nitric oxide rebounds. Research from Stanford shows this micro-rest format can cut daily cortisol exposure by 20% in older adults. Finally, synchronize these systems with sleep. Deep sleep is the factory shift where testosterone spikes and memories consolidate. Protect it. Dim lights 2 hours before bed, keep room temperature cool, and finish your last meal at least 3 hours before lying down. A stable blood sugar curve prevents midnight cortisol surges that shatter rest and drain hormones. When testosterone, nitric oxide, dopamine, and cortisol move in harmony, strength returns, blood flow smooths out, and mental focus locks in. You do not just feel younger, you operate on the chemistry you had decades ago, rebuilt with daily choices instead of prescriptions. In the next section, we'll turn to the plate, specific foods that feed this hormonal engine and keep those vessels supple meal after meal. Food and nutrition that support male vitality. Picture every meal as either hormone therapy or hormone theft. The difference comes down to 3 pillars: protein for muscle, color for nitric oxide, and fat for hormones and joint repair. Begin with protein, not just for bulk, but for signaling. 25 to 30 grams per meal triggers muscle protein synthesis, preserving the tissue that keeps glucose in check and testosterone high. Wild salmon, sardines, or pasture-raised eggs do more than meat numbers. They deliver omega-3 fats that thin blood, lower inflammation, and protect the endothelial lining that powers erections and clear thinking. Grill a 6-ounce salmon fillet, squeeze lemon for added vitamin C, and you have nitric oxide armor on a plate. Next layer is color, deep reds and dark greens. Beets, arugula, spinach, and pomegranate seeds flood the body with dietary nitrates and polyphenols. Those compounds convert to nitric oxide and widen arteries within minutes. 1 cup of raw arugula tossed with olive oil at lunch sustains vessel dilation into the evening. Add half a roasted beet at dinner and you double the effect. Want dessert? A half cup of fresh blueberries elevates endothelial function as effectively as some prescription vasodilators, without side effects. Now the fat. Hormones are built from cholesterol, but source matters. Extra virgin olive oil, avocado, and a small handful of raw walnuts provide monounsaturated fats that feed testosterone pathways while slashing oxidative stress. 2 tablespoons of olive oil daily, taken with food, have been shown to raise free testosterone by up to 12% in older men. Drizzle it over vegetables, cook with it at moderate heat, or take a teaspoon straight before bed to stabilize nighttime blood sugar and support deep sleep. Spices turn food into therapy. A 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric with black pepper curbs joint pain by blocking NF-κB inflammatory pathways. Fresh garlic not only flavors fish, but drops blood pressure and frees bound testosterone. Dark cacao, minimum 85%, added to morning oats supplies flavonoids that relax arteries and give a gentle dopamine rise for focus. Timing locks it all in. Front-load protein and color at breakfast and lunch. Save lighter, fat-focused meals for evening to avoid insulin spikes that blunt growth hormone overnight. Men who follow this pattern report waking with better morning firmness, a direct sign of overnight vascular repair. Hydration completes the strategy. Aim for half an ounce of water per pound of body weight, but upgrade plain water with a pinch of sea salt and a squeeze of citrus. Electrolytes move nutrients into cells, and vitamin C shields nitric oxide from degradation. Avoid stealth saboteurs. Skip seed oils high in omega-6, sugary sauces, and refined grains that inflame arteries and crash testosterone. Alcohol, keep it to 2 servings or fewer a week. Beyond that, it erodes sleep quality and hormone production. Each meal is a vote for stronger blood flow, steadier mood, and reliable strength. Combine these food choices for 90 days and watch waist size shrink, morning energy climb, and confidence return before you ever pick up a prescription. Simple daily habits to regain strength and confidence. Strength after 60 is less about lifting heavy and more about touching every system, muscle, nerve, hormone, every single day. These 5 micro-rituals take under 15 minutes in total, yet they create compound gains in stamina, balance, and self-belief. 1 10-minute morning circuit. Roll out of bed, no coffee yet. Perform 10 chair squats, 10 countertop push-ups, 10 standing calf raises, and a slow 30-second plank against the kitchen island. Repeat the sequence once. Total load on joints is low, signal to testosterone and growth hormone is high. Within 2 weeks, most men add 1 unassisted floor push-up without realizing it. That first unexpected rep rebuilds confidence faster than any supplement. 2 minutes of cold rinse. End your shower with cold water from neck to ankles. The shock activates brown fat, spikes norepinephrine, and trains blood vessels to constrict and reopen. Nature's interval workout for your circulatory system. Men who adopt a daily cold rinse show a measurable rise in dopamine and a drop in inflammatory markers within 30 days. The immediate payoff is the surge of alertness that replaces the second cup of coffee. 3 5-second box breathing. Several times a day, especially before meals, inhale for 5 seconds, hold 5, exhale 5, hold 5. This resets the vagus nerve, lowers resting heart rate, and frees nitric oxide stored in the sinuses. Over time, calmer baseline breathing raises heart rate variability, an objective marker of resilience that predicts longevity better than cholesterol. 4 sunlight plus walk. Step outside within 30 minutes of waking and let natural light hit your eyes for at least 5 minutes while you stroll. The light anchors your circadian rhythm, boosting morning cortisol, needed for energy, and timing the evening melatonin surge that deepens sleep. The walk pumps synovial fluid through joints and lymph through tissues, flushing overnight waste that otherwise causes stiffness. 5 keep one promise daily. Choose a single manageable task. Organize 1 drawer, call 1 friend, read 10 pages, and do it before bed. Neurologically, completing self-set goals raises dopamine and builds a feedback loop of trust in yourself. Confidence is not a feeling, it is evidence. Collect proof each day and self-assurance grows whether or not anyone else notices. Stacked together, these habits create a hormone-friendly, circulation-rich environment in which muscles stay active, vessels flexible, and the mind proud of its discipline. No gym membership, no gadgets, just consistency. Practice them for 4 weeks and you'll feel the handshake tighten, the back straighten, and a quiet certainty return when you catch your reflection. Next, we tackle the heart of connection, using renewed physical strength to revive emotional and physical intimacy, even if years of doubt have built a wall between you and the closeness you once took for granted. How to rebuild intimacy, with or without a partner. The hardest part about intimacy after 60 isn't physical. It's the silence that forms when you no longer feel like yourself and don't know how to say it. Intimacy changes with age, not just the way your body responds, but the role it plays in your life. What used to be automatic now takes more intention, and for many men that feels like failure. But the truth is, it's not a failure, it's a shift, and it's one you can work with, not against. Let's start with what no one says out loud. Men feel shame when physical performance starts to fade. When erections aren't as firm or timing isn't as predictable, many men retreat emotionally, not because they've stopped caring, but because they're afraid of disappointing someone they love. The result is distance, fewer touches, shorter conversations, and eventually less connection altogether. But this is where the rebuilding begins, not with perfection, but with presence. If you're partnered, start by naming the change. A simple sentence like, "I've noticed my body feels different and I've been carrying that alone," can open a door that's been closed for years. You don't have to explain everything. You just have to stop pretending nothing's changed. Most partners don't need performance, they need reassurance. They need to know you still care, you still notice them, and that you want to share something more than just physical closeness. From there, redefine what intimacy means. It's not just about arousal, it's about attention. Holding hands longer, sitting closer during a movie, saying what you feel even when it's uncomfortable. When you reintroduce connection without pressure, the nervous system calms. And that calm is what allows blood flow, desire, and confidence to come back. If you're single, intimacy still matters, because intimacy starts with how you relate to yourself. Do you look in the mirror with kindness? Do you treat your body with care or with criticism? Do you talk to yourself with encouragement or with judgment? Self-respect is the foundation of every future connection, and physical touch doesn't vanish just because someone else isn't there. Simple practices help. Apply lotion to your own skin like you would to a partner. Breathe deeply while making your bed or shaving. Rituals become reminders that you're still here, still vital, still deserving of touch and attention. Masturbation, too, becomes a conversation with your body. It's not about escape, it's about exploration. Learn what feels good now, not what used to. You're not chasing your 30-year-old self. You're discovering who you are at this stage with new rhythms and responses. When done with awareness, this kind of self-intimacy builds confidence, not comparison. And remember, intimacy grows in community. Connection to others, a trusted friend, a group you see weekly, even a neighbor you greet daily, keeps the emotional side of you alive. Men over 60 who maintain regular social engagement report higher levels of testosterone, better sleep, and deeper emotional satisfaction. This isn't just emotional fluff, it's physical health. Strength without intimacy is emptiness. Intimacy without strength is fragility, but put them together and you get something powerful, a sense of being whole, grounded, alive. No matter where you're starting from, whether you're with a partner, alone, or somewhere in between, you can reclaim that part of yourself. You don't need a pill, a performance trick, or a scripted role. You need honesty, effort, and a willingness to step forward again. Because intimacy isn't about going back to who you were. It's about showing up fully for who you are now. And that version of you is still capable of deep connection, lasting pleasure, and real love. You've just learned the blueprint. Daily muscle signals, cold water, color-rich food, small kept promises, and open words that pull intimacy back into the room. Choose one habit tonight, set it out, do it tomorrow, and feel the first surge of certainty by sunset. Then come back and tell us what changed first: stronger grip, warmer hands, or a deeper conversation. Like this video and subscribe to Glowing Age. Your support keeps these doctor-led guides coming, so every man over 60 can age with power, closeness, and real confidence.